space, the final frontier. These are some horrifying alien examples that the asshole who is speaking has accumulated for your viewing experience. It's 5-year adventure. Holy sh**, is that an alien? What's up, sexy motherfucker?
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about the scariest aliens in horror movies. Before we fully jump into my picks, if you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, it's good to see you again. So before we fully start, parameters for this video. If it's from outer space, it's an alien.
Hello, my baby.
Are we on the same page or not? Well, we better be, because I am not the government, because I will leave a child behind. Because that program worked so well. Oh yeah, it also has to be scary. Kind of in the title. And we're not cowards. Are you a coward? Alright, let's get into it. Alien, the Xenomorph. If you didn't think this was going to be on here, I doubt you've seen many horror movies. When you think of scary aliens, and just, I think aliens in general, you think of Alien. You think of Ripley, you think of Ridley Scott, you think of facehuggers, chest bursters, and most importantly, the Xenomorph. I think it's the first alien that comes to mind for most people when they hear the word alien. Besides like the little green, like, you know, stereotype. Alien was released in 1979 and was directed by Ridley Scott, and it stars Sigourney Weaver as Ripley. It's also an Oscar-winning horror movie, which isn't that common. And as such, with any well-received horror movie, it spawned like 8 sequels. Well, sequels, prequels, and other, you know, spin-offs. All of that fun jazz to make more money. The original Alien never referred to these guys as xenomorphs. And I don't think they called the facehuggers in the movie. Those names would come later on. Yet the fear that these aliens would invoke into every viewer who went into theaters to see this was undeniable, name or no name. Alien was produced before the boom of CGI. And yeah, your boy's about to glaze some more practical effects. It's kinda what I do here.
Bro, that looked a little Mahomey.
But as Ridley Scott himself says, quote, "The real thing is better," end quote. Granted, the real thing would technically be like actual footage of an alien, but if xenomorphs are real, and I'm in the same room, I'm not recording it, I'm probably just dying. But that's just me. I'm not built different. I'm just a chill guy who will die slow. That sounded really bad. My point with the CGI is no CGI available meant that the practical effects had to shine, and the parts where they didn't shine, camera work and lighting would have to fulfill. And just like CGI, practical effects aren't anywhere near what they are today. I mean, just look at Chucky running from the original film to the TV series or the newer movies.
Nice seeing you out and about.
Complete difference. You can tell that it's just either a little person or a child with a big ass mask running in the hallways in the first movie. And then the second one, it looks much more realistic because it's actually the puppet moving. And that's to say that the Alien movie from 1979, while it had jankiness and restricted movement, I think that added on to the terror it gave off. And that's for all aliens in the movies, like the egg at the beginning. The egg had a hydraulic system within it, and it would help open up that egg. As for the alien we know as like the full-grown xenomorph, it was a suit worn by multiple actors. Usually tall, like 6'7" to 7 foot, which tall actors are usually used in horror because their presence is so imposing. So that imposing threat mixed on with a mechanical head that made the head shoot out its other head to, you know, nom nom nom. It's so good. Its blend of practical effects, mechanics, and just, you know, the actor. Plus its restrictions led to an unnatural, janky movement from the alien. And that's what you want. I mean, unnatural movement in general is what scares people. I mean, unnatural anything is what scares people. Carlo Rambaldi was responsible for the alien's head, as well as E.T. Just thought I should throw that in there. And H.R. Geiger was the original alien's artist, and would help Ridley Scott's decision in choosing to take on this film. And Geiger and Rambaldi created one of, if not I dare be so bold, the greatest film alien ever. Ridley Scott took that alien creation and used shadows, editing, and just general surprises on his own cast to get the final product. Famously in the chestburster scene, Ridley Scott only told those who needed to know about the chestburster alien that was going to come out, so everyone else's reactions was genuine.
Oh God!
But also the egg scene in the hydraulic system that I mentioned earlier. Those reactions were genuine surprises, and I think that truly helped the film. I'm no actor.
No shit!
However, I think one of the hardest things an actor could do is act as if they just saw something unworldly that we've never seen before. So I think the best way to do that is just to scare the shit out of them. Because that brief second of genuine fear would probably be the reaction of
bullshit piled up so fast in Vietnam you needed wings to stay above it. I was going to the worst place in the world and I didn't even know it yet.
most people to a cosmic entity or an alien, such as the xenomorph. There's loads of more prestigious film critics and film, enjoyers out there on YouTube who've talked about this movie way more in depth than I have. And I'll let them do that because this movie is one of the most talked about movies of all time. So I'll cut it off with this. When I started my venture into the horror genre, like the true horror genre, not the kid stuff that helps kids get into the horror genre, I'm talking like Chucky, Scream, all those type of things. This is like iPod. I was 8 years old and YouTube didn't have any ads. But the thing is with like Chucky, Ghostface, Michael Myers, and Jason, I started watching those just on my iPod and just finding clips I could find on YouTube. My first horror movie that I actually watched, like myself, the full movie, was Alien. So while Alien is an iconic movie just, for being iconic, to me it's a special movie because of that memory I had. Critters. Critters is a 1986 dark comedy horror movie, directed by Stephen Herrick, and the movie follows a group of little mischievous and murderous alien rascals who come to feast on those who live in a small town village. It's a plotline you've heard before, but what makes the film so much fun is the aliens, known as Critters. The Critters were created by the Chiodo brothers, famous for their works in practical effects, and we're going to talk about them later. Critters gets a lot of comparisons to Gremlins, and yeah, but as the director, Stephen Herrick, as well as the story writer, Dominic Muir, would constantly refute, stating how they had written Critters before Gremlins, but had run into production problems before Gremlins came out, even going as far to change up the script a couple of times to avoid comparisons. And while I'll try not to compare the two of them, the only comparison I will make is Gremlins is nowhere near as violent as Critters. So if you ever liked Gremlins and thought, I wish this was more violent or more bloody, Critters is it for you. I also think that Critters is just a better movie, but that's also because it doesn't have to follow Christmas time. I don't know if that's a hot take. Tell me if you disagree. But to defend my point, the acting in Critters is well acted. There are some great effects within it, and it somehow had a heartwarming story while also still focusing on these fun little alien murderers. But they're furry, so they're cute. Do you like explosions? Well, I'm on a watch list. This movie has a ton of unwarranted explosions, or as I like to call them, extremely warranted explosions. The movie is just so much fun. And as for the critters themselves, the glowing red eyes are always fun. But I also have respect for whoever's puppeteering the little puppet that we know as the critters. Because yes, it is a puppet, but the face mechanics is mechanical. That's the mechanics in What I mean by that is the mechanics are hydraulic articulations with inside the face, aka Five Nights at Freddy's. But just for your hand, so if you're okay with losing a hand, go for it. This was me sticking my hand up a critter's ass. It's our third date though, so it's okay. Calm down.
Calm down! You calm the fuck down!
While these aliens are cuter than most on this video, they'll still murder you. And yes, they aren't as scary, but the practical effects that are in the movie are pretty dang good and bloody. I'm just including this on the fact that I would definitely try to pet one and get killed doing so. I wouldn't even try to pet the xenomorph, because I'm smart, Hell, I wouldn't even try to pet the next option, which that sentence was a transition, even though I'm gonna go to black now. Am I to black yet? Is this the transition part? Killer clowns from outer space. Space, aliens, and clowns.
What in tarnation's going on here?
If that doesn't strike fear into your soul, well then okay then, tough guy. Why don't you put those big manly hands on my ass? Killer Clowns from Outer Space was released in 1988 and directed by Steven Chiodo. Now I mentioned the Chiodo brothers before in this video. That's right, if you were paying attention. The Chiodo brothers, which includes our boy Steven, I said our boy as a saying, he's not my son. I don't have a son. I just wanted to be clear about that.
So let me be clear.
Steven's brothers, Charles and Edwards, also known for Critters and many other famous special effects, wrote the movie Killer Klowns, as well as producing and creating the clowns that we see on film. Hey, we'll get to you. Actually, wait, no, come here. Why does your book have a group sex part? Hey, get back here. The Clowns from Outer Space were a combination of puppets and just straight up costumes. Now, the movie itself has a lot of enjoyable moments in it.
Holy shit!
And the movie is more about charm. Like, they're not the scariest, although I think they are pretty scary. Especially when I was a kid, I refused to watch this movie. The movie is full of charm. Even with the clowns. Like, yeah, they can be scary, but they're also cute and murderous. Just my type. And the cotton candy way of murdering people is so much fun to me. And I'm so thankful that the movie just shows the clowns, because that's what I wanted to see. That's why we're here. However, something almost as entertaining as the movie itself is the behind the scenes. Because the actors who are playing the clowns, they are so polite. If you watch the movie Killer Klowns from Outer Space first, and then you go watch the behind the scenes, the juxtaposition of the angry, murderous clowns to these guys just sitting nice and just, being comfortable and just looking around all curious and just saying thank you and please and all that. It's so funny. And besides that, you get to see the full costumes and how they actually look like in real life without all the editing and without going back and making sure things look crisp and nice. Now, while the actors on the costumes' mannerisms are very cute because they're just polite while wearing horrifying costumes, the costumes are still horrifying. Like, if you put a crackhead in there, like Ronald Reagan, I'd run. What's the plot, you're asking? Who gives a shit? Go watch these alien clowns take over a small town and murder everyone in the process, while we see a group of young people, because horror sells to teens like Jules did, save the day somehow, and not the sheriff or the military. There's the plot, by the way, so if you wanted it, there. The movie that is a science fiction horror film that uses an insane amount of props and costumes and certain special effects designs you would think would cost a lot of money. However, the film only cost $2 million. It only cost $2 million. Look, I get it. I have to budget for diapers, laxatives, and Gatorade, lemon lime flavored, because I had a rough weekend. But for a movie with this much stuff in it, that is insane. A comparison is, if you've ever seen The Bye-Bye Man, it's a horrible, horrible movie. This thing cost $7.4 million for this utter piece of shit.
Don't think it, don't say it, don't think it!
I'm afraid of putting this into your head.
Tell me.
Bye-bye, man.
This is the reason I will die on the hill saying that if there is passion in a movie, specifically in a horror movie, it will always do better than an unloved $100 million horror movie. Killer Klowns is a lot of fun. You should go watch it. Now to that stupid, insecure, cosmic being that likes to cosplay as a clown. My uncle. He's still in jail. Pennywise. And this is like the Tim Curry and the Bill Skarsgård version, and you'll hear why, because that's why you're watching the video. Pennywise the Dancing Clown, I personally believe counts as an alien. I know he's like a cosmic entity, threat, being, who fights another cosmic entity, threat being that's a turtle. So I feel like normalcy is kind of out the window, so I can include him in the alien list. And if you're mad, then don't be. Don't be mad at me, be mad at your government. Anyway, that's my excuse for having this shape-shifting entity be on this list. I'm glad we got over that hurdle together. Pennywise is different from all other aliens on this list because he can shapeshift. Also, if you watched the movie monster list from like 2-3 weeks ago, and you pointed out that the thing is an alien, go fuck yourself. Anyway, this shape-shifting entity, Pennywise the Dancing Clown, like mentioned, can shapeshift, specifically into people's fears, which is why he's usually a clown, because kids are afraid of clowns, and adults in 2016.
There are reports of more bizarre and eerie clown sightings, this time in McDuffie County, Georgia.
But the entity of Pennywise can also transform the surroundings, just to prey on its victim. And Pennywise victims are the people of Derry, Maine. And for the movies, we follow the Losers Club. Once as kids and then once as adults. With the Bill Skarsgård version, there's 2 different movies. I enjoyed each movie pretty well. And with the Tim Curry version, there's like 2 TV short movies. It's much shorter than the movies recently, and it's not as good. I'm no actor.
No shit!
Tim Curry's performance, amazing. And I kinda enjoy the charm from the top tier acting of the adults who play the kids from Tim Curry's version. Because man is it good.
Damn it, Bill, that thing's not your brother. Come on, man, fight it. George is dead.
Now the concept of Pennywise, besides one thing, is awesome. I love the idea of the antagonist being able to work off the protagonist's fears, like Scarecrow and Batman.
Well, guess who's gonna visit me in jail, Batman? My parents. Dead parents.
But what truly puts Pennywise on this list for me isn't so much his all-powerfulness. Kumbaya. No, if I went that route, I would probably mention the book version of Pennywise, because that explains its cosmic being a bit more, and that's more terrifying to me, just cosmic beings. But what I'm focusing on is the performances of Tim Curry and Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. While they each have their differing takes, there's one thing with both of them that I really like about the character of Pennywise. They each have a sense of endearment and love and charm towards their prey, just to lure their victims in, which makes a lot of sense because, you know, their victims are kids at the beginning. And then later on, when they become adults, that charm to lure them in is more just teasing and making fun.
Kiss me, fat boy!
And Tim Curry and Bill Skarsgård each portray that fun childlike charm that a clown is supposed to have that will make a kid come near him while also still having the audience in the grip of their hand, because we know that this clown is Bad News Bears, but the kid walking up to it isn't fully aware of its evil intentions. And at the end of each encounter that Pennywise has with whatever his victim is, Pennywise reminds everyone why he's evil. He'll snap, just like that.
You're supposed to say 3.
A succulent Chinese meal.
And I'd say Tim Curry was much more charming when it came to his performance, and that might just be Tim Curry being Tim Curry. He was much more jokey around and much more talkative and like, hey, come here, I'm a friend, before he went like, hey, I'm gonna murder you now. And I think the TV movie really needed that from Tim Curry, because without that joyful and murderous performance, it would not have gone as well. The movie would probably just be pretty boring. Meanwhile with Skarsgård, instead of being more bubbly and more talkative, I get the sense that his version of Pennywise is holding in his need to spring towards the kids right until he's ready. Like the way he talks to them isn't as talkative as Tim Curry, and I think that's because he just wants them dead. Like, yeah, he'll talk to you to get the job done. Meanwhile, Tim Curry's more like, I'm gonna play with you a bit. And that's not to say that Pennywise doesn't play with their guys. Well, wait a minute. And that's not to say Bill Skarsgård's version didn't toy with the Losers Club. However, I think he went a bit more ham than Tim Curry did in trying to kill them. I mean shit, even Skarsgård Eye is an example of that. Like, he looks like a normal clown when he's trying to get you lured in, and then when something ticks in him where he's like, alright, time to eat you, his eye just starts, veering off. At least that's the sense I got from it. This is the one example of an alien and just movie monster in general where I don't think you could take away the actor who performed as Pennywise and still be on this list. Now, on to another alien that hunts. Predator.
There's something you need to know. On Chris Hansen. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Predator is different from most of the aliens on this list. While most aliens on this list are going to kill you and want to kill you and will do anything for that, the Predator, while he wants to kill you, he wants to throw hands with you first. And I gotta respect it. Hell, he'll throw hands with most anyone. Another iconic alien film, it's arguably up there with Alien. I mean, it's why they fight all the time like a divorced couple. Predator was released in 1987 and spawned multiple sequels and reboots and spin-offs, as well as other face-offs.
I'd like to take his face off.
Damn it, Nick Cage! The film was directed by John McTiernan and stars the Terminator and Carl Weathers, as they're in a group of commandos on a mission in the jungle. Oh shit, Freddy Krueger's here! Thank goodness we have guns. That should be good. The casting for the Commandos really helps with the Predator, because you have a group of huge guys, very muscular, who look like they could beat up anyone, getting manhandled by this bigger Predator. Get it? I said the name in the thing. Now, the obvious difference between the Xenomorph and the Predator is the way they take out those trying to survive. The Xenomorph is more of a silent killer who goes in for the kill right away. And yes, the Predator does do that, but he's more of a, you know what, I'm gonna fight you, let's see what you got kind of guy. And I appreciate that. Like, give me a chance, let me feel like I'm about to do something heroic before you cut my head off. That'd be cool. I feel like Alien is much more of a survive movie rather than fight movie. Granted, there's fighting at the end. But what I'm saying is Predator is much more of a fight, and survive if you can. But then the sequels kind of blend those two, so what am I even saying? But it is apparent even when they fight, and I'm talking about like the Alien versus Predator, that the Predator is much more combat ready and combat evolved, as the Halo theme song.
Loki!
And we slowly learn their background through several movies about how they're gladiators and warriors all throughout history and fighting the best of the best. And they are just straight hands. If you've seen the Sonic movies or just know Sonic like lore, I don't know why, but I think of Knuckles and I think of Predator as like brothers.
And made myself at home.
What the dog doing?
And unfortunately for the Predator, they are one of
Ugly motherfucker.
I like that they are illustrated as a brute type alien. Yes, it looks more human-like, besides like the face, obviously. I'm talking about the body. But I think that's what makes them so scary. Also, I just want to say, I kind of liked Alien vs. Predator. Did I like the characters? No. Did I like the story? No. Did I like the way it was edited? No. I didn't like the lighting, but I like the fights, okay? Okay, and sometimes I like to go into movies with a simple mind and a nice little snack. I was just happy watching them duke it out. I thought it was the same type of fun that I had with Jason vs. Freddy. Although I will say I enjoyed Jason vs. Freddy a lot more. The Blob. Alright, back to me glazing practical effects. Although I'll try to not do it as much as I have been recently. God damn do I love glazed donuts. Specifically the chocolate cake glazed donut. The Blob, the 1988 version, is one of my favorite horror films of all time. Now, disclaimer, I've already mentioned it, but I love practical effects, but more importantly, I love when people die painfully. Do I have problems? Yeah, but most of us do, so who are you to judge? But this movie fully indulges in making people melt in the grossest ways possible, and it just looks so painful, gooey, messy, and gross. Do not go into this movie eating something. I might make a whole video about this movie because there's some scenes that I just can't show without fully censoring it. And if I make its own video, I just won't censor anything, so we all get to experience it together. Because that is truly the only way to enjoy this movie to its full extent. That means it's bloody. Bloody good. Am I right, fellas?
You need to leave!
Directed by Chuck Russell, it follows an alien entity that gets unleashed on Earth after a crash landing. Now, what is this entity, you may ask? It's an acidic organism that devours anything it comes across, and that includes people. And you know what falls under people? Children. Yeah, the Blob isn't like PSAs that I've covered, where it's like, oh, a children's about to die, look that way. Meanwhile, the Blob says, hey, you want to see a kid melt in water? And it's like, yeah, I do. In a healthy way, of course. This remake of the 1958 version of The Blob fell upon a lot of criticism from the critics. Criticism from the critics. That's what they do. A lot of bitching from the critics. They deemed it as over the top. And like, yeah, it is, okay? It's a body horror movie. What the hell did you expect? But also, like, this is what they were working off of. I really don't know what they expected if this is what they had at the beginning, and then this is what they got. Like, what did you want? Play-Doh that turns into a child that haunts people's dreams and just gives them more Play-Doh? That's stupid. The Blob itself might seem goofy, like the Blob. If you love your kid, name them Blob. But what makes the alien so scary is what it does to people. And on top of that, there's no rhyme or reason. Like, sure, you can think that the Blob might have bad intention, or it's just doing what it does to live. And it's not like a xenomorph, a killer clown, or a predator who wants to hunt you down and kill you. It might be, but we don't know. If you want to ask it, go for it. The Blob entity itself, in simple terms, was just a blood-soaked blanket with a ton of food thickener. And again, there's more that goes into it, but what I'm really focusing on is what the Blob does to people. If you like the body horror of The Thing or like The Fly, you are gonna love this movie if you haven't seen it already. Okay, I need to stop with the love dumping. My therapist says that's bad. Okay, that's the end of the video. However, if I left out one of your favorite scariest aliens in movies, let me know. If I mention one of your favorites, let me know how it scared you. Like the killer clowns, I was just scared of clowns in general, but with the xenomorph, I was terrified of the shadows. And I'm literally Batman. Like, what the hell am I doing? Okay, if you enjoyed this video, a like really helps me out. It helps with engagement, algorithm, and all that fun jazz that I don't know anything about, to be honest. I just say this stuff because I see other people say it, and I think it helps. I don't know. It does make me smile, so if you care about that, thanks. If you enjoyed this content and the words that come out of my mouth, then, you know, maybe hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next week. And to all my returning viewers, if you didn't know that there's a little bell on the side somewhere, I don't really know where, it looks like this. If you hit that, it will give you notifications for my videos if you want that. If you don't, I get it, because I don't like notifications either. But sometimes I think my videos don't get pushed out because I cover certain things that YouTube doesn't want to, you know, promote too much, like children and trains. But that's all up to you. Just know I upload every week, usually Friday midday at some point. And with that all being said, I will see you all next week.
Aight.
Bye.
I put a whole bag of jelly beans up my ass.